we're heading to look at Chelsea. Liam Rossini watched from the stands as the Blues were beaten 2-1 by Fulham at Craven Cottage. Harry Wilson, what a player, by the way, underrated. We're going to talk about him. He grabbed that winner in the 81st minute. I think his first left-footed goal in the Premier League. Meanwhile, Chelsea suffered their 8th red card of the season in their first half as Marc Cucurella was red carded for what was judged to be a professional foul on Wilson. Caretaker manager Callum McFarlane spoke to talkSPORT after that match and rejected, rebuked the idea that Chelsea is suffering from a discipline problem.
I wouldn't call it ill-discipline. It's ill-discipline if it's violent conduct or a dangerous tackle. It was more of a structural issue than anything. We shouldn't have Marc in that situation. On another time, Marc's one of the best defenders in the world. He defends that situation well. Harry Wilson does well again. So I wouldn't say it's a discipline issue. I think it's more structurally what we'll have to look at. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it was a foul or not, so I can't comment too much on that. But yeah, it's not. I wouldn't call it ill-discipline.
Harry, I mean, bless Callum McFarlane. He's not going to put himself in the firing line. You know, he's a great servant at Chelsea. Manager, I think, of the under-21s. He's sort of a really important part of their setup. But he's way off it, as Gabby would say. It is a discipline problem.
It's a discipline problem. It's also stupidity from Cucurella as well. Like, having got yourself into that mess, which could be to do with the structure of the team. When you look at the way that it all comes about, you end up being the last man. You could argue it's a structural thing in terms of that, but it's just a stupid foul. Like, so early on in the game as well, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. You try your luck. You try and knock him off balance a little bit. You go shoulder to shoulder because referees find it really difficult to make decisions around shoulder to shoulder stuff because there is that grey area. You don't blatantly pull back the way that Cucurella did. It's silly for me. And the thing is, as good as Cucurella is, and he is a good left player, really good player, he does have those moments in him. Yeah. And then it's all the theatrics, you know, the way he sort of over-dramatizes his reaction to seeing the referee blow up for the foul and all that. That's the stuff that makes him very unpopular with everybody else.
I think as well it highlights, I mean, I would say Chelsea have a discipline problem, but I would say Chelsea have an absolutely wonderful squad of players. And I think it highlights what a challenging job Liam Rossini has, is that it's a massive step up for him. I heard Quaker on the Goal Show talking about sort of how, it's great to see a young English coach, particularly a young black English coach, get an opportunity like that. I'm all for it. I've heard Liam Rossini speak in the past about how you see on the continent young managers get given these opportunities and it helps mould them into top-level managers. So I'm really glad that Chelsea have given him this opportunity, but he's got a massive job. It's a huge step up. How do you expect it to work out? Because I can't help but think, Harry, although it's great he's got this opportunity and you've got to tip your hat to Chelsea, I can only see it ending one way. Chelsea maybe sort of lingering around sort of 5th to 9th, and eventually the board saying this ain't good enough, there's a big manager available, see in a bit.
Yeah, I think if I'm Liam Rossini, I beg your pardon, first of all, you got to take it. You got to take the job. There's no question about that. You take the job, and I think you obviously want to be successful and you want to move forward and you want to make the team competitive, because the better the team does, the more it enhances your reputation. But I do think if you work for this Chelsea ownership, you have to look out for yourself, number one. And I think Enzo Maresca did a really good job of that. He came in, made the step up from the Championship, enhanced his profile at Chelsea.
Big time.
Got them into the Champions League, which was what they were after, basically. Was very clever about managing the expectations around him. We're not in the title race, even when everybody else said they were. And what he did was he made sure that he came out of it looking really good in the end. And I think if I'm Rossini, because I would have seen the way that they've treated other managers. And I know people say he's a company man and he's already working for Blueco. When I was with Rory Jennings the other day, he joked that Rossini doesn't even have to give his bank details because he's already on the books. Like, that's how inside he already is. I do think that as you grow as a manager and as you grow as a coach, you find yourself in a position where you can no longer allow yourself to be told what to do by somebody like Blueco, who in most instances, when you look at the individuals that are making the decisions, are just not at the standard required. So I think for now it's fine. But I think there will come a point where this inevitably reaches a head again, where either the coach gets too big to be told what to do, which is what happened with Maresca, or it goes really badly, and then unfortunately Rossini's gonna, come out of it looking bad. But the only thing that goes for him in this is that, and why he should absolutely take this leap and has taken this leap, is because if it doesn't go too well, you can hide behind the cloak of the ownership, how badly they're doing things, how out of touch they are, and someone else will give you a chance because they'll believe that the environment is what costs you and not necessarily your own ability as a coach. So is he going to get them anywhere? Is he going to turn it around? I mean, I'd suggest that their situation's not that bad. And that's why the Maresca sacking came as a surprise.
Well, I think Enzo Maresca's left him in a good place.
Yeah,
you look at what he achieved, particularly in the Club World Cup, in the Champions League. I think they're only 2 points off the automatic qualification spots. They were 5th in the league when Maresca left. They've got Cole Palmer, Estevao, Liam Delap. I mean, just a ton of talented young players, but they've been cursed by, I guess, the inconsistency and the discipline issues. Is Liam Rossini in a position where he can instantly, or he can achieve that by the end of the season? Because you would think he's been told we need Champions League next season, and the nature of the Premier League being so up and down and unpredictable, that's still quite a difficult task, I'd say.
Yeah, it is. The consistency thing, I think, is in part because of the profile of players that they go for. Young players are inconsistent in their nature. Generally speaking, I know not all of them are, but there is good sort of evidence, I think, that we've built up over the years to believe that that's the case. On their day when it clicks, they're brilliant, but there will be days where they find it difficult and they don't have that experience to draw upon and that know-how to be able to navigate through those difficult situations. With the discipline thing, I'm reluctant to sit here and say that there's a massive discipline problem, and I'll explain why. People used to say that about Arsenal last season. There's a massive discipline issue at Arsenal. They've had 5 or 6 red cards, whatever it was. But when you break them down, when you look at them, right, you think about it. Declan Rice got a second yellow card for flicking the ball away. Leandro Trossard got a second yellow card for kicking the ball away. Miles Lewis-Skelly was sent off, but then the ban was lifted because it was found afterwards that it was a really silly decision. So you can actually half the number of red cards that Arsenal picked up last season if you're being sensible.
That's still a discipline problem if you kick the ball away.
But
because they're the rules. The rules are the rules.
But they're rules that were never being enforced. And so it's very hard for a player to break out. Like, it's a habit to go and stand on the ball, delay a restart when the opposition gets a free kick. These are things that have been going on in our game since it started. And so the idea that, players go through the rule book and look at every single rule and have to make sure that they're sharp at all times around all of them when they're barely being enforced, I think is us asking too much. Again, you can say it's a discipline problem, but I think you got to evaluate the sendings off. The one last night, that's not a discipline issue. You're the last man. It's an individual decision that Cucurella has made. It's the wrong decision. He's paid the price for it. I don't think you can look at Chelsea and go, they've got a massive problem. Some of Caicedo's challenges, Caicedo's got a discipline issue, if you ask me. Yeah. But to say it's a general thing and it's a team problem, I would stop short of that because I'd need to sit and watch them all back.
One thing that fans, we can argue about discipline, but there seems to be, and there has been for a long time, these sort of waves of anger and frustration from Chelsea fans, different types of protests against Bluco. There were chants against the ownership last night. A banner was displayed in the away end. I mean, I feel there's an irony here because Strasbourg fans were absolutely fuming. They wrote a letter believing that, saying that Strasbourg are essentially subservient in a humiliating way to Chelsea. And Chelsea fans themselves, who have poached the manager from their sister club, they're also frustrated. Where does this end for Chelsea? Because it seems to me that they're perfectly happy buying players young, amortising the contracts, selling them at a massive rate, making money, getting into the Champions League, which I know isn't a given. But if I was a Chelsea fan, I would feel that there isn't a burning desire to continue being the club that wins year on year, that wins silverware, that's sort of brutal in that regard. Can you understand where Chelsea fans are coming from?
Yeah, but that level of ambition and ruthlessness, it walked out the door with Roman Abramovich. And I think now Chelsea fans are realising what a unique situation they found themselves in with a guy who A, had the money, but B, had the ambition to capitalise on the landscape at the time when the Premier League was the Wild West. In he comes, there wasn't as much restriction as there is today, and he was able to build them into this side that were incredibly successful over 2 decades, even longer, right? But what I think fans are struggling with now, First of all, I'm a big believer in that. If you feel really, really strongly, don't go. Look at what we saw at West Ham the other night against Nottingham Forest. Massive game, 6-pointer. The stadium was half empty.
Yeah.
Don't go. Okay? Vote with your feet. But then there's a part of me that feels like you'd be then depriving yourself of what you love, your night out, your afternoon out, whatever it is, your thing that you let off steam after a long, hard week. You'd be depriving yourself for a group of people that don't care about you anymore.
Well, also, Todd Bowley can just sell those tickets that you don't on his ticket selling
ticket
website for £1 million a pop.
There you go. But this is the point I was coming to, is that the local match-going fan for the very biggest clubs right now is not the most important thing.
No.
And that's been the case for ages. Clubs are able to spend what they spend, and they have the revenues they do because of TV money, because of the global audience, because of the value of their business, and they look at their football clubs as businesses on the wider scale. And so this idea that if the local people that have been there from day dot stop going, it's gonna ruin the football club. It's not.
No.
It might change it, but Todd Bowley is happy for it to change.
Yeah.
You know, that you look at the way that they're branding Chelsea now, CFC, LDN, everywhere. Chelsea,
shocking,
London.
It's like a franchise.
It's like a franchise,
approach.
exactly. But that's the way we're going. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy with the way my club is operating at the moment, because you look at
rub it in.
But there's conscious effort, though, to make sure that disconnection doesn't happen. You know, you watch some of the adverts they do, some of the videos they do. They use local businesses, shops in Islington, round the corner from the stadium, fish and chip shops. They go and film adverts in there, laundry cleaner places, all these things. And I just feel like that's unique nowadays. What you're seeing at Chelsea is common, and it's going to be more and more and more common. And I just think that we as fans, it's sad, but we're going to have to start to change our mindsets with regards to what these clubs' priorities actually are.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? We've spoken about Man United at the top of the show, now Chelsea. And it does feel
very similar,
that the soul is being sucked out of the club in different ways. But you see, yes, these are fans of, you know, clubs that have been incredibly successful, particularly over the last 30 years, whatever, recent memory. But they are just commodities. Yeah. And the typical protest of voting with your feet, keeping your season ticket, well, they make it so difficult for you to do that, because if you don't resell it to the club, then they'll sanction you, and then you won't be able to get a season ticket next season.
Exactly.
So the power that a football fan has is diminishing in so many different ways.
They've got you. You're in like a washing machine, just going round and around and around, and you can't get out, because the minute you get out, you ain't getting back in.
Exactly. And what they'll do is they'll hike up the prices massively and pull on your heartstrings, because ultimately that's your club, that's your life, it's part of your family. And so that they can exploit that. And I think that we're seeing that at clubs like Chelsea and United.
The thing that annoys me the most about it is that you can do things that will make the fans feel valued without it being at any expense to you. So, for example, Chelsea made their supporters buy all of the European games in one go. What if you only want to go to one?
Yeah.
They're additional to your season ticket. They cost a lot of money. What if you only want to go to one or two? If they only buy up one or two, those season ticket holders, you're still going to sell the rest.
Yeah.
So why do you have to put them in a situation where they feel like they have to buy the whole package, therefore putting themselves at greater expense and feeling undervalued? I don't understand the thinking there. If you are, which they clearly are, trying to draw tourists in and the day trippers in and all the rest of it, that will happen regardless.
Exactly.
So why do you
don't need to shaft your fans in the process?
You don't need to put your fans at a disadvantage at the same time.
It's rank.